A group of monks in 9th century China were trying to live forever. Instead, they invented the thing that would end more human lives than almost any other invention in history. They weren't soldiers, they weren't engineers. They were alchemists mixing minerals in a mountain workshop, hunting for an elixir of immortality. One day they combined saltpeter, charcoal, and sulfur, and instead of eternal life, they got an explosion that singed their beards and burned the workshop down. They called it fire medicine. Within a few centuries, that same failed potion had reshaped warfare on every continent on Earth. Today I want to walk you through exactly how that happened, because the real story is way stranger than most people realize. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Zach, and if you're new here, this is the place where we dig into the weird, accidental, and often overlooked moments in history that quietly changed the entire world. Today we're tracing the gun back to its true origin, and trust me, it starts nowhere near a battlefield. For a long time after that first explosion, nobody thought of this mixture as a weapon at all. People used it for fireworks, for smoke signals, for festivals. It was entertainment, not warfare. That changed once military commanders during the Song dynasty realized what this substance could actually do to a human body. Between the 10th and 12th centuries, Chinese engineers strapped bamboo tubes packed with gunpowder onto spears, creating the fire lance. Light it, point it at your enemy, and it would spew flame directly into their face during close combat. Defenders used these during the siege of Dion in 1132, and by every historical account, it worked. Imagine training your whole life to fight with a blade, and suddenly the person across from you is holding fire itself. From there, things moved fast. Soldiers started packing pottery shards and metal pellets into those bamboo tubes, turning pure fire into something that could actually wound at a distance. But bamboo had a problem. It couldn't handle stronger charges without splitting apart in the user's own hands, so Chinese craftsmen switched to bronze, and that's when the hand cannon was born. By the 13th century, these metal tubes were standard across China, and engineers were also building massive gunpowder bombs capable of tearing through fortress walls that had stood for generations. Then the Mongols showed up. When they invaded China in the 1200s, they ran straight into these weapons during brutal sieges, and instead of just losing to them, they adopted them. Once the Mongols controlled China, they carried gunpowder weapons westward as they conquered their way across Asia, essentially spreading Chinese military technology faster than any trade route ever could. That's how a Chinese invention ended up in the hands of Islamic and eventually European armies within a few generations. Once gunpowder hit Europe in the late 13th century, it slowly tore apart the entire medieval world. Castle walls that had survived centuries of siege warfare started crumbling under cannon fire. Knights who had spent fortunes on armor found out that a peasant with a gun could kill them just as easily as any noble-born swordsman. The whole social order built around expensive armored cavalry began falling apart because gunpowder didn't care about bloodlines or years of training. The real game changer came in the late 15th century with the matchlock, the first mechanical firing device ever built into a small arm. Before that, firing a gun took two hands and perfect timing. The matchlock let a soldier aim and fire with real precision for the first time in human history. It spread everywhere, from the Ottoman janissaries to Portuguese traders who brought it to Japan in 1543, where local gunsmiths refined it into some of the finest firearms on the planet. Eventually, the matchlock gave way to the wheel lock, then the flintlock in the early 1600s, then the percussion cap in the 1800s, each one solving a problem the last one couldn't fix. And through every single step of that journey, all the way from a burnt beard in a Chinese alchemy lab to the muskets that fought the Napoleonic Wars, nobody set out to build a weapon. They stumbled into it piece by piece, mistake by mistake, across nearly 1,000 years. If this kind of story blew your mind the way it blew mine, hit that like button right now, drop a comment telling me what part surprised you most, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I've got more stories like this coming, and you're not going to want to miss them. See you in the next video.